you
I am
choose the right person.
witnessing the exact application of putting a duck in an eagle's position.
Yeah. Right. And then everybody's frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah. See?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think there's room for an accommodation of that discomfort, which is, no, I want you to tell me, like, client to coach. Client wants to coach. No, I want you to tell me the answer. It's like, what, I'll tell you what I can do. I can teach you the principles
Mm-hmm.
that I am using to try to elicit the growth from within you. I can offer you a framework to orient your thoughts and how you contextualize your experiences, and you can choose to adopt that if you want, and then so maybe you don't feel as uncomfortable feeling like, oh, I have to let the parts of myself that aren't serving me fall away, because that's uncomfortable. Like, well, no. So we like there's a synthesis here that we can achieve where I can teach you a few things, and you can then take that and apply it in a way that's meaningful for you in your life, and then we can explore a little deeper, and then more learning occurs, and having somebody on that journey with you, like we talked about it before. Just the presence of somebody else's mind with you as you're problem solving sparks ideas, sparks solutions, sparks possibilities that maybe you aren't great at tapping into on your own. And so with maybe a little bit of instruction as well as a little bit of application, I think there is a synthesis to be found, and that's something that I'm working on incorporating more of into my own coaching, where I think I'm gonna try to set aside 10 or 20 minutes to, like, okay, we're gonna discuss a couple of principles, have a bit of a discussion about what opportunities you might see to apply these principles, how you might think about these principles, and how they apply in your own life, and then jump into the coaching experience. I'm thinking about
If I can add to that a little bit, so in the Maxwell system, every one of the courses is also coaching booklet. And so the difference between the coaching book and the facilitation book, right? Because in the coaching book, if you use, like, say, Leadership Gold, right? And instead of going up, playing the video and doing the facilitated discussion around the video, there's a different book. There's a coaching book. And what the coaching book has a series of questions that, if you walk the questions in sequence, the questions cover the content, right? But it's just a series of questions. And some of the brilliance in it is how it attacks the problem from the flank. Like, it doesn't come at you directly, right? So if Leadership Gold, we're going to talk about the chapter, Eagles and Ducks, right? Don't send your ducks to Eagle School, right? It's a chapter, right? The whole point about it is about, as a leader, you got to discern and cultivate leaders, and if you find them, you got to give them a different track, right?
Do you know,
and make sure you choose the right person.
Witnessing the exact application of putting a duck in an eagle's position.
Yeah. Right. And then everybody's frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah. See?
Yes.
Yeah.
We got this new guy in, and they put him in a role that he was not well suited for. Like, it's not his fault necessarily that he was put into that position, but that was the position that was available. Like, okay, well, somebody in this position. And there is a lot more decision-making authority in that position than he is
accustomed to.
it's more than just what he's accustomed to. It's beyond his capacity.
Mm-hmm.
It's you need to be at this altitude, and I'm sorry, ducks only fly this high.
Right.
So I think he's had a month here, and he's getting scooted over,
shifted
to a position where he's not going to be able to screw it up.
His talents are more aligned to his capacity.
I really hope so, because it's been frustrating for every single body, single person.
And that's exactly what that whole chapter is about, right? And that's the entire story. But in the coaching version of that, it doesn't talk about ducks and eagles or give you the premise or any of that. What it does is that it asks a series of questions, such as it starts off very broad and it narrows down. So it starts off with, is there what do you think it takes to become a leader? Have you met people who don't want those positions? Right. And then this series of questions ends up covering the content, but they are the ones that answer the content. Yeah. You don't provide anything. Like, you're not dropping, here's the bullet and let's talk about it. It's, let me ask you a question. And then following up that question, understanding where the content is, right? And then they draw out they get to the conclusion, right, to the series of questions. And that's again, when they come up with the answer, they know it better.
Yeah.
So I'll just leave you with that methodology that the John Maxwell team does when we do that type of idea, right? Because there is parts where he's like, no, I really need to tell you about eagles and ducks. Like, this is a valuable lesson. If I could just play this video for you and you can watch it and then we can discuss, that would be a facilitated moment, not a coaching moment, but still, right? I think it would be valuable to your moment. Or, hang on, let me pull up this sequence real quick. Let me ask you a question. You know what I mean? And then, because of the design of the questions is the brilliancy in it. So
yeah,
if you can find a way to design your questions, 3 or 4 questions around that, whatever topic you want to deploy, without ever saying the topic. If you can do it without stating the topic, you're winning. From a coach perspective.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, you're just a trainer. And it has a different impact. It lands differently. Right? That knowledge is not incorporated as easily because it sits on top of the brain versus coming out of the brain. It doesn't blossom out. It sits on top. If you train.
Yeah, it's the who was it? It's the Socratic method, right?
It's essentially, it's all coaching. It really is.
Question.
Mm-hmm.